G'day, gang. I wanted to talk about mental health self-diagnosis. Oof, it's a big one. So I know that there is this growing trend that we do. For some reason, mental health has suddenly become a badge of honor, or like the suffering Olympics is something to which that a lot of people want to participate. I don't understand this new change. So this topic's going to be a little bit complicated for me to cover, but I wanted to talk specifically about the self-diagnosis part of it. Yeah, we've seen a lot of people. I think everyone knows someone who has just a laundry list of diagnoses that you get on TikTok, for example. And they have like the TikTok mental health checklist. It's really weird. I understand again that this is part of a culture that I don't understand. So again, very, very clear about that. But in my time working with people who had severe mental illnesses, disabilities, and the elderly, they I mean, to be clear, I worked as a care worker, not a therapist. But those people, you do help them and listen to them in a therapeutic sense, but not again as a therapist. And in my experience in these fields, it back when I was doing it especially, it was a sense of shame and humiliation, and people didn't want their mental illnesses broadcast into the world. And now we're living in an era in which that a lot of people end up saying, hi, this is who I am, this is my list of mental illnesses, along with obviously another bunches of lists of things, which to me is completely bizarre. I again don't understand the want to claim mental illnesses, because I myself am pretty embarrassed about my own mental issues. So for people to suddenly want to have this checklist and to want to brag about it to other people to the point of putting it on their social media pages, it blows me away. Where are we going wrong as a society that we have to feel that we have to explicitly say the things in which that we've been challenged with by life, instead of just saying, I am who I am, and this is take it or leave it, basically. We have to have excuses for everything to exist in a world with other people. And I think a lot of the reason that people do have these laundry lists of mental illnesses is so they can say, it's not my fault, it's just this specific diagnosis. And a lot of the people that do this are self-diagnosed. For the reason that they want to use these self-diagnoses, these labels and tags, as excuses. And I think, again, I don't understand why people would not just say, I am who I am, get over it. But that goes into the numerous topics that I've talked about, the numerous times I've talked about people being conflict averse. Again, net negative on society, in my humble opinion. But I think, people are just so invested with being able to say it's not my fault because of these reasons, that we end up with this really, really just it's almost, if you were to write a sci-fi novel with this as an example, and you published this 30 years ago, you wouldn't be able to publish this. People would say, no, this is too silly. You know, this is a comedy. Stop. Go away with it. We're not taking this as a serious work. And yet now, hello, this is the world that we live in. Yeah, please stop self-diagnosing. If you think that you have a mental illness or a mental health issue, I highly advise going to speak to someone about it. Like, genuinely, to anyone who self-diagnoses, please talk to someone about it, because it also, you may be self-diagnosing wrong, which you probably are. Yeah, you almost certainly are, because the mental health field is profoundly complicated. I mean, I myself was in mental health treatment for, I think, 10 years before I was diagnosed with the thing that, with the thing that I have now. And I think that the mental health process is really long, and diagnosis is incredibly complicated. And we, even if you are a psychologist, I mean, you shouldn't be diagnosing as a psychologist, but even if you are a psychiatrist, you're probably not if you're diagnosing yourself with mental illnesses, but even if you are, you're biased. You can't see the things in which that have, like, in you. So even if you have the qualifications to diagnose yourself, you shouldn't be. And in fact, you're not allowed to diagnose yourself for that exact reason. So why are we, I'm certain, as almost exclusively non-qualified people, diagnosing ourselves? What is this trend? I mean, it's a massive, massive disservice to ourselves to reduce ourselves to things like this anyway. I know it's easier than doing the actual work and admitting to people, look, sometimes I'm an asshole, sometimes I fuck up. I understand that it's a reasonable thing to want to say stuff like that, to not want to say stuff like that. To a lot of people, they don't want to be the asshole. But unfortunately, at some stage in our life, all of us are going to be the asshole, even if we didn't mean to. That is called existence. And I think that the more comfortable we get with existence, the more we can move away from this bullshit. I don't think it helps you. I don't think it helps the people around you. I don't think there is any benefit to self-diagnoses. But if I'm wrong, tell me why it helps. I will be the first one to admit that I have been failed by doctors for at least a decade, sometimes numerous decades. I will willingly admit openly that I've had a lot of issues with the medical system and the mental health care system, and I understand. But self-diagnosing doesn't help. It isn't the cure-all that some people seem to think it is. And I think that when we expect to know more than people who have done literal years and years of study, then, like, where are we? What are we doing? Where is our critical thinking? Like, where is our reasoning at? But this is a really complicated topic, and I want more opinions in the comments, please. Genuinely, I want to have dialogues. I want video responses. I want to talk about these topics, and I'd love to have a back and forth. If you want to react to my videos, please do that. I want more opinions on the subject, because ultimately that's what these are. I think there are optimum ways to do things. I think there are healthy ways to do things, but I think the healthiest ways sometimes aren't necessarily the best, because sometimes they're too hard to implement. So I think that even the quote-unquote right ways to do things, which I don't think is an objective truth, I don't think there are right ways to do things, but I think that the easy ways are often a lot more difficult in the long run. But again, I really want opinions. I want conversation, and I want to know how you all feel about diagnoses in general. Like, how do diagnoses help you? How do the self-diagnoses help you? And even the ones that you get from doctors. Like, how does it help you to label? Does it help you with labeling yourself, or having these tags in your profile on social media? Do you feel like it genuinely benefits you to be able to broadcast these? Do you feel like this is a positive conversation about mental health? Because I'll be the first to admit I have a very negative opinion about talking about my own mental health experiences. So I'm very interested in people who have positive experiences about talking about their mental health, because that is a conversation that we need to have. That is numerous conversations we need to have. So I'm the first to admit that I'm doing it wrong on that account. But genuinely, talk to me in the comments. I want to hear about it. Make videos in response. I want to know what you think. I want to know how having a a label to yourself. My screen turning off every time. I'm like a broken record. I want to know how having something on your social media or being able to say, I am this thing. I want to know how it helps you. I want to know why it helps you. And I'm particularly interested in the ways in which that it genuinely enriches your life, be that through self-diagnoses or getting traditional diagnoses. But please clarify. Please tell me. I want to talk about it. Please react. Please talk. I want more conversation on this topic. I want to learn about this topic in particular. Yeah, thanks for listening to me, and please let me listen to you. Bye.